Maria Chapdelaine, 1916, is a novel by French-born author Louis Hémon, written during his time living in rural Quebec. Set against the harsh, unforgiving backdrop of the northern wilderness, the novel follows the quiet yet resilient Maria Chapdelaine, a young woman living on her family's isolated farm. As she comes of age, Maria must choose between three suitors, each representing a different path in life. François Paradis, a rugged and adventurous trapper; Eutrope Gagnon, a steadfast and hard-working local farmer; and Lorenzo Surprenant, a factory worker who has emigrated to the United States and promises a life of comfort and modernity. Through Maria's story, Hémon explores themes such as the beauty and difficulty of rural life, the strength found in faith and resilience, and the tension between duty and personal fulfillment. The characters are drawn from Hémon's real-life experiences with the habitants, French-Canadian farming families, among whom he lived while writing the book. Maria's father, Samuel Chapdelaine, is a devout frontiersman who sees his labor of clearing forest and building farms as a sacred mission. The family's current homestead is the fifth he has established, driven by a restless desire to conquer new land. His wife, Madame Chapdelaine, is more social and outgoing, and though the isolation of rural life wears on her, she remains faithful to her role as wife and mother. Maria, beautiful and introspective, becomes the focal point of competing visions of life and love. Her decision is shaped not only by personal desire, but also by the weight of tradition, family, and faith. Louis Hémon died tragically in a train accident in 1913 before the novel's publication. Maria Chapdelaine was released posthumously in 1916 and has since become a cornerstone of Québécois literature, widely read and adapted into multiple films. It continues to hold a lasting place in French-Canadian culture and education. Maria is initially drawn to François Paradis, a bold and free-spirited trapper with no desire to settle down. During the summer, they exchange heartfelt promises before François departs for his winter job as a shanty foreman. As winter sets in, life on the Chapdelaine farm becomes a daily ordeal. Blizzards and biting winds batter the land, and the men labor constantly to keep the farm running, while Maria and her mother are consumed with housework. Through it all, Maria clings to the hope of a future with François. In early January, Eutrope Gagnon brings devastating news. François, while traveling through the wilderness to visit Maria, has gone astray and is presumed dead, lost to the unforgiving elements. Maria mourns in silence, restrained by the Catholic belief that excessive sorrow is sinful. As a young woman, her duty remains to marry and raise a family. With François gone, Maria is left to consider her remaining suitors. Eutrope, kind and dependable, offers a modest life on a farm like her own. Lorenzo Surprenant, on the other hand, tempts Maria with the promise of a more comfortable life in the United States, filled with modern conveniences and city pleasures. Overcome by grief, Maria begins to view the wilderness with suspicion and fear, imagining the cold and snow as cruel forces that claimed François. Yearning to escape, she leans toward marrying Lorenzo, not for love, but for the hope of leaving behind the hardship and isolation of rural life. However, tragedy strikes again when Madame Chapdelaine falls seriously ill. With no clear diagnosis, she passes away within days. Maria, grieving once more, reflects deeply on her mother's life, a life of quiet sacrifice, lived beside a man who dragged their family from one remote homestead to another. In that reflection, Maria recognizes her mother's deep-rooted loyalty and senses the same pull within herself. As she contemplates leaving for a softer, easier life, Maria is visited by three inner voices, each affirming the importance of heritage, endurance, and faith. In the end, Maria makes her choice. She will marry Eutrope Gagnon in the spring and remain in Quebec, embracing the life of resilience and tradition that shaped her. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.